That's like the segmentation piece. So like
Same as what?
the segmentation piece. So like segmenting who your potential customers are.
Yeah.
And not by like demographic, but by psychographic.
Yes, mate. I fucking love this. Yeah.
And so like Athletic Greens, so one of my coaches is from Athletic Greens.
That's one that's on Rogue, like...
all over Rogan. Like they'll do like 800 million quid this year. Like balmy.
Fucking hell.
All
That's
online.
wild.
Yeah, all online. Wild. So segmentation. So they were hitting a wall of like, I've done all our champagne, pops, whatever stuff. So they started to do a segmentation study on like who are the people that could buy Athletic Greens and why would they buy it. And they just found this huge audience of people who travel loads, have loads of money, executives.
And what was their core audience was like to begin with?
Like gym bros.
Gym bros,
right?
Yeah.
And they were like,
not my kind
there
of
are
people.
all these like, no. They're like, there's all these like executives and like business people and lawyers and bankers who are like traveling loads, but our product is in this big tub that you just would never take with you. So the product's no good for them. So they created this SKU called Travel Packs. Same product. They upgraded, they did a rebrand and made the brand a lot more kind of like premium and modern, and like there's a great ad I saw on the Tube for them yesterday, which was like typified their new audience they're going after on the Tube.
Oh, so for listeners, it says asset management, AG1, and
there's like a gym bro.
Whereabouts in London was that?
That was in Angel.
Yeah.
And so like they're hitting the London audit, but like, so they redid the brand, they created this travel packs proposition, they put it on their website and they kept the website focused. So it was like part of this hero SKU journey that you could choose travel packs or, their original proposition. And what happened? Conversion rate went up, even though choice normally depresses response.
What do you mean by choice depresses response?
So like conversion rate is a key thing for website purchasing, like what percentage of customers buy. Mm-hmm. Normally, choice will depress the conversion rate because it creates friction in the customer journey. The customer has to make a decision. People don't like making decisions. They'd rather not make a decision than make a decision. So you not only have to get them to decide they want to buy, then you have to get them to decide what they want to buy. Hence why I said that website, was never going to fly, because just too much like choice depressing response rates, conversion rates. So even though they increased the choice, it improved the conversion rate because it unlocked this whole new segment of customers, the travel packs. And the brand obviously was doing a better job of attracting them to the website in the first place. And it unlocked their growth journey from 100 to 800 million, basically, that one insight.
Yeah, it's almost like, was it British Airways who tapped into the red-eye flight? Like they did that business class thing. And it was like one advert, which was like, the whole point of business class is they weren't selling the expensive plane ticket. They were selling the fact that you get a good night's sleep and you'll like land and you'll be fresh for your meeting. Yeah, it's like the feature versus benefit.
Totally.
It's mad. So then, in terms of your segmentation, where does it go?
So we found some really interesting stuff. So the habitual cleaner is someone who's like buying Purdy and Figg to clean loads. So they want the same thing every time. Then we found out this new type of cleaner called the variety seeker. So that's someone who wants a different sense. Mm-hmm. So now we've got the signature seasonal propositions, increase the potential penetration. But the big thing for us is the brand. And so we've got a rebrand. It'll probably be out by the time this comes out. And it's trying to just broaden the appeal, basically, of the proposition. And I think it's an incredible job. We hired that global.
That's why I think you should have a podcast. I'm not trying to sell to you, but I just like, irregardless, because I think you could get loads of different segments talking about cleaning. Yeah. You could actually get a gym bro, because there's a guy I follow called,
that's a cool idea,
called TM Cycles, who's like a gym bro, but he puts up content of him working out. Like Burton, Elliot. He puts out gym content, but he also puts up like pictures of his house and shit like that.
Yeah,
I think that could be really interesting. And then you could also get like that's really you could get a builder, for example, or maybe not a builder. Maybe that's a bit too much.
No. Push. This guy coming into my house, he's a plumber.
Yeah.
Came around to the house, he saw Purdy and Figg, he was like, oh, I've got that. And I was like,
that could be
I was like,
so
why did you have that? And he was like, oh, I've got a boat on the canal, houseboat. And he was like, I use it to clean my houseboat.
I think the thing with demographics, and I've talked about written about this before, is people think that a 16-year-old and, well, maybe not 16, a 20-year-old and a 40-year-old and a 70-year-old are completely different people. A 20-year-old and a 40-year-old and a 60-year-old who are all into barbecuing are actually fucking similar. So people look at marketing through demographic lens, which Seth Godin talks about this. Is psychographic is, I've got mates who are like 50 who are into like Perry's one of our sponsors. Like me and him have massive age difference, but we're all into the same shit. I think with brands, you can, if you look through the psychographic lens, you can actually really increase that segmentation. Whereas demographics quite reductionist and myopic in some ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I think that's really interesting. Like, how do you get other people? Almost do the AG1 effect on Purdy and Figg.
So we're doing a big segmentation study at the moment, and like trying to understand the different psychographics.
And what are you sort of learning?
Well, we haven't got it yet.
Yeah.
So it'll be out. Hoping it's been a big study, like using YouGov and loads of things like that, to try and get a better read on it all.
Yeah.
So and then we'll start testing propositions and working out how to go deeper and deeper. But I think the brand's going to make a big difference.
The only final thing, mate, because I know you've got to go for this meeting, is are there any other interesting frameworks and shit you've learned or applied from either coaches or books that have really kind of helped?
At the beginning, focus on sales, not branding. I think branding and design and prettiness is like important, but the main thing that matters with brand is like how many people are using your product, because that is like the true mark of a brand. And so I think a lot of people think too much about brand at the beginning.
Product precedes brand, essentially.
Yeah, and sales. Get it into people's hands, like focus on the sales and don't be too precious about the brand side of it. Like the direct response side, which is what will drive sales, dial that up much more than you do already. Yeah, another thought is basically the market is really important, the market you're in. And I think a good team in a bad market won't win. A bad team in a good market will win. And a good team in a good market is going to do fantastically. And so really try and understand like what's happening in your market and whether whether there's something there, because you're just fighting a tide if there's not growth in the market or a big opportunity in the market. Yeah, and I think we agree on loads of things about differentiation over features and facts. Like just be different, very different, and take different strategies. And yeah, I mean, the growth mindset when it comes to businesses is the most important thing. Like everyone wants to be in a growing, dynamic environment that's changing, and I think what drives that is sales growth. And so if you're not like 90% of what you're doing is not directly leading to sales and growth, then you're wasting 90% of your time. And I think I see a lot, I talk to a lot of founders obviously, and I just see so much of the time is wasted on things that they think are important, but in reality, they haven't actually got a business yet. So why are they focusing on them? Like,
such as?
Well, for instance, we could have spent our first 2 years focusing on health and safety in our factory, but we would have been shut down for the first 2 years. But we just didn't focus on it because we didn't have a business yet. It didn't matter. If we were shut down, it wouldn't have even mattered because we didn't have anything really, like 100 grand, whatever. Like, so it's just that mindset of just like, stop worrying about the details and all the things that could happen and the crap, and just like what is going to grow the business, get product into hands and make us margin at the end of the day. So yeah, just a big thing on that. And then yeah, a lot of food and drink founders listen, but I'd be careful about going into direct to consumer unless you're really going to focus on it and put the time and effort, because the reason we're not going to wholesale and super grocery is because it's like a completely different business, and the people need to be different, the skill sets, the structure. and it requires like you to be very good at it and to be focused on it. So there's the big danger that you kind of just dilute the focus of your business and actually don't get anything from it because you're not doing it well enough.
Yeah, it's almost like either be a retail brand or be a D2C brand.
I think so. For the first few years, I think so.
Well, yeah, because I think what Huel did geniusly, or that's the right way of saying it, is they built the powders D2C, built a huge business there, and then they gave, this is in terms of just looping this all together, is their small file was the RTD ready-to-drink bottle. They gave them exclusively to retail, which meant they weren't cannibalizing their D2C sales of the powder. They had something fresh and clean to put in the fridges, and I think that's kind of how you get it to. But I don't know how long they were building on D2C before they were
long time, and those drinks are still a very small percentage of their business.
Espressos is sponsored by supply chain software gurus Unleashed. It talks to your e-com and accounting software. It's helped Islands cut admin time in half, get granular clarity on your margins, know where your stock is. Don't miss availability. Brands like Candy Kittens, Tiny Rebel, and Trip all use Unleashed, and so should you.